Let's get to all the action from the Sri Lankan elections. Now, early trends show a slight lead for Gotabaya Rajapaksa as voting begins. And after the voting, in fact, begun, the counting has begun now in the Sri Lankan elections. Remember, an unprecedented 35 candidates had put in their names for the top post in the island nation, and a record voter turnout of over 80% of eligible voters cast their ballots to elect their new leader. This is the first poll in Sri Lanka since the Easter Sunday bombings in April that killed over 250 people. The shadow of the deadly attack looms large over the election, and there is no doubt that national security is a prominent issue in Sri Lanka. In his campaign, Rajapaksa maintained that national security was his priority. Gotabaya is the younger brother of former President Mahinda Rajapaksa. He was also a defense secretary in his brother's cabinet during the Sri Lankan civil war. However, he faces the allegation of abetting war crimes. But Gotabaya appeared extremely confident as he cast his vote, saying the people of Sri Lanka could get a better future under him. His main rival is Sajith Premadasa, the current housing minister. Premadasa, too, hails from a political family. He is the only son of former President Ranasinghe Premadasa. Now, he based his campaign on social welfare and extension of government schemes to all sections of society. The polling process was, however, not entirely smooth. Incidents of violence were reported in different parts. Shots were fired at a convoy of Muslims while they were headed to cast their ballot in the northern district of Mannar. The Election Commission has acknowledged that its travel arrangements for the Muslim voters in Mannar were not up to the mark. Another official in the poll panel went on to say that there was concerted effort to keep the Muslims away from the ballot boxes. However, the body later said that the election ended without any serious incidents.
But luckily, we don't have any serious injury. The first time, in the first presidential election, I think, we have finished the election without serious incidents.
Joining us for more on this story is journalist Zulfiq Farzan. He's joining us live from Colombo. A very good morning to you there. Well, my first question to you is, of course, Sri Lanka's former wartime defense secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa is taking an early lead. How do you think these trends will play out in the next couple of hours?
Well, it's so interesting that we've seen since last night, with the first result just coming around 1 a.m. today. Now, the Elections Commission said that the reason for this is because certain ballot boxes were sent to the respective counting centers a bit delayed from the respective polling stations due to inclement weather and other transportation reasons. However, after the first result came in, it took some time for the others to follow. So right now we are expecting the results of a total of 182 centers, including of the districts and the polling stations. So far we've got around 45. Even as we speak right now, certain results are coming in. So from the results that we see so far, Sajith Premadasa, the son of late President Ranasinghe Premadasa, has gained a certain lead over his rival Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Now, mainly his lead comes from the votes that he secured in the north of the country and other certain portions in the country as well. Now, Gotabaya Rajapaksa has secured his votes in most of the southern areas of the country. Now, with more than 135 electoral areas still remaining to be given the results to come out, we are still awaiting a clear confirmation as to who would likely take a lead, at least even after 100 results are released.
Right. Also, this is the first election since the Easter terror bombings, which happened in Sri Lanka just some time back in April this year. Now, Gotabaya has time and again emphasized on national security at a time when Sri Lanka is feeling vulnerable to terrorism. Do you think that this could be the reason why so far he seems to have the edge over Premadasa?
So far, like you said, although in the initial stages, Gotabaya Rajapaksa had an early lead ahead of Sajith Premadasa, right now that gap is reducing, and it had reduced earlier on in the day, where Sajith Premadasa actually took a lead over Gotabaya Rajapaksa. However, speaking on the point of national security, yes, the national security has been a key point of discussion from both parties, from Sajid Premadasa and Gotabaya Rajapaksa, especially since this is the first election after the Easter incidents. However, both sides have stressed that they would ensure a peaceful environment is created. However, this comes in a backdrop where both sides traded blows with regard to the issues that arose previously relating to the Easter events as well.
Right, of course, so you're right there. We will not know the final result, of course, as the votes are being counted. Somebody might have taken the lead, and now, of course, like you said, Premadasa seems to be the one that is leading right now. But, of course, let's talk about the voters. At least 80% of the almost 15 million eligible voters participated. This definitely signals that Sri Lanka is looking forward to stability now in their nation.
Indeed, I totally agree with that, because I think it's remarkable that more than 80% of the population, registered voters, have decided to go to the polls, because across most of the districts, especially in districts where we usually see a less voter turnout, somewhere between 60 to 70%. This time we saw between 80 to 85% of voter turnout, which is incredibly remarkable for Sri Lanka. It clearly shows that the people are making choices right now. The people are making, they are choosing the option of going for someone who is better for them. So it is a clear indication that the people in the country require stability, especially when matters like the economy, national security, as well as development are the key points of discussion.
Before you go, Zulfiq, what can now we expect next in the coming hours once the results are declared and their official results that we can see, and we'll know that we have an actual winner? What will happen next when it comes to processes?
So right now, we are looking at two options. One is that a person to become president of the country needs to have 50% plus one vote. So we are looking at that scenario as well. However, the Elections Commission had also said that in the event none of the candidates can get 50% plus one, despite having a majority over the other, they will have to go for a second count, which means another lengthy process will take place. And even right now, due to the delayed release of the election results, we are still anticipating the results to come in at least by end of today, where we can decide on who would be the clear winner. If not, who would have a majority. And depending on that, depending on who is having 50% plus one or who holds a majority, then the next step will have to be taken, either to swear in a new president who gains 50% plus one, or go for a second count to see who would secure the majority.
Right. All right, Zulfiq, thank you for joining us there and getting us the latest on the updates and, of course, what's happening there in Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
So how confident are you?
Very confident.
It has been a neck-to-neck campaign with the two main contenders and the remaining other